Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that you are well. Our term of the day is brought to you by a question I received in the comment section. I received it from the gentleman over here. Thank you so much for interacting with my content. I highly appreciate it, and I would like to encourage all the other viewers to do the same. So, the term is debt to equity ratio. What is it? Debt to equity ratio is a financial metric that compares a company's total debt to its shareholders' equity. This financial metric shows us how much of a company's financing comes from borrowed money versus how much of the financing comes from money invested by the shareholders or the company's owners. The formula for this financial metric is total debt divided by shareholders' equity. And that gives us our debt to equity ratio. Before I tell you why it matters, I think it's important to understand what I mean when I say financing. Every organization or business requires funds to either start up, to run its business so that they can achieve their strategic objectives, or to expand. Because clearly there is a high demand in what we are providing or the services that we are rendering. We need to be able to grow so that we can meet or satisfy all these extra demands. The common denominator, the key or the common factor in all those examples I just shared is that all those aspirations or pursuits require funds. They require money. I would like to start a business. I need 100,000 rand to buy XYZ equipment. One of the first questions that pop up in my mind is, how am I going to finance or fund the acquisition or purchase of these equipment so that I can start my business? Financing comes in the form of mainly two ways. It's either I'm going to secure debt. In other words, I'm going to go out there and look for somebody who can loan me money. Somebody where I can go and borrow, or they can lend me money. Commonly, that would be the banks. Or a private lender, somebody who has the resources, who believes that I'm a safe bet and is prepared to give me a loan. Of course, I have to pay it back with the capital and the interest. But in principle, they're saying, I'm giving you this money, I expect you to pay it back within this duration of time at an interest rate of X amount. So that's the debt portion of the formula. It's me trying to fund my business using debt. The other aspect is, maybe I've been saving. I've been saving for the past 3 to 5 years. I've been saving, I've been disciplined, and I managed to raise maybe 80,000 rand, back to our example of requiring 100,000 rand. But I still need 20,000 rand. I approach a friend of mine or somebody who is an expert or experienced in the space I want to go into, and I say, look, man, I want to pursue this business. I want to buy the following equipment. I'm a bit short in cash. I don't want a loan. I'd like for you to go into business with me. I'm prepared to sell you a stake of my business. Just give me 20,000 rand. We'll put the funds together and we'll be able to get the business up and running. So in that case, that Morena and myself would have pulled this money up and poured it into the business because we believe in this business. We invest into the business, and that makes us shareholders slash owners of the business. And that is the equity side of financing or funding our business operations, functions, or aspirations. I believe it was important for me to get that across before we speak to why it matters. Why it matters. Debt to equity ratio measures a company's financial leverage and risk. It helps investors evaluate whether a company relies heavily on debt or borrowed money to fund its operations. Generally, a higher debt to equity ratio may indicate that a company has greater financial risk as it has more financial obligations to honor or meet. Conversely, a lower debt to equity ratio may indicate that a company's financial structure is more conservative. In other words, they don't depend on debt as much. They rely more on the monies or the funds invested by its shareholders. Confession time. I never understood what the term leverage or leveraging meant in context of the debt to equity ratio. I've come to learn that it simply means using borrowed money, debt, to pay for a company's operations, growth, or assets instead of using shareholders' equity. So when a company is highly leveraged, that means they use a lot of debt to fund their operations. And conversely, if it's low leverage, it would mean the opposite. And it would mean that they rely more on shareholders' equity. Example time. Let us say company ABC Limited has total debt of 1 million rand. They owe the bank 1 million rand. Let us also say company ABC has shareholders' equity of 500,000 rand. That's the money that I and some of the other shareholders put together to fund this business. For us to compute our debt to equity ratio, we would take the 1 million rand and divide it by the 500,000 rand. This would give us a debt to ratio of 2, which means company ABC relies twice as much on debt than it does on equity to fund its operations. One might even argue that they are highly leveraged because a lot of their funding comes from debt or borrowed money. Is it a good or bad thing? It depends. As long as the debt helps the business grow and make money and it can afford the debt, it's not such a bad thing, because the reality is not everyone has a million rand liquid cash readily available. So we do need that type of assistance. As long as the business can afford to pay it back, then we are still safe. Just keep that in mind. Key takeaway: debt equity ratio shows us how much debt a company uses relative to its shareholders' equity, and it also assists in assessing the financial risk and capital structure of a company. Thank you so much. Once again, if you have other questions, queries, follow-ups, drop them in the comment section. Like this video, share it, repost it, put it up on your status, and follow for more. Thank you.